You're watching Toronto Sports Rush on the Bet Rivers Network.
It's Wednesdays with Keegs, and man, there's a lot of Blue Jays news, starting with the Jays signing Cody Ponce. Now, if you're thinking, have I heard that name before? You may have. Brief stint in the majors, played in Korea last year. Keegs, what are you thinking of this 3-year, $30 million deal?
Surprising, but I love the state of the rotation coming out of this now. Now, Ponce is a fascinating reclamation project. And, Dan, whenever somebody gets better, I want there to be reasons. You know, baseball is full of guys who suddenly go from being a fringe arm to 1 year. You see this with the relievers more. Or 1 year, out of nowhere, they have a 2.5 ERA. They're incredible. But when you look into their fancy stats and even the velocities and numbers, nothing's really different. And that makes me wonder, okay, is this just luck? With Ponce, you have reasons to believe that his time, 3 years in Japan, 1 year in Korea, have helped him. His velocity has gone up a couple of ticks. His curveball's gotten better. He's added a splitter, which the Blue Jays are obsessed with, suddenly. And there are a lot of reasons to believe that his turnaround, winning the KBO MVP award, has some juice behind it, has some real reasons behind it. And when Ponce was playing over in Korea, he was teammates with Hyunjin Ryu in his final year. There's some great videos of him wearing that 99 Blue Jays Ryu jersey. So I'm sure he got some pointers from old Hyunjin, and it's a fascinating signing. But I love where it leaves this rotation. Right now, you go Dylan Cease, Kevin Gausman, Trey Savage, Shane Bieber, Jose Barrios, Cody Ponce. Now, I know we all want to play video game GM and just trade Barrios, boom, get a guy out of here. The moment you do that, someone's going to blow an elbow. So I think this happens a little slower, but they have an excess. This could be a value signing. And Ponce, man, good for him. A guy who is going to be a model for a lot of other fringe pitchers.
Our good buddy CJ Nikowski said last year in Korea, he learned a new kick change. And he says he throws hard. Korean competition, not that good, but the Blue Jays believe in the adjustment. So then I dove deep and asked CJ what a kick change is, and I should not have asked that question because he broke my brain.
It's the trendy new word to throw on a pitch. Pretty similar to a splitter, does the same sort of thing. It's reminds me of, what was it when Daisuke Matsuzaka came over to the Red Sox? We're calling it the gyro ball. This pitch he had invented
the
that
gyro
nobody's
ball.
ever seen before. It's like he doesn't have a sixth finger or something. Come on, people. We kind of change the name of this pitch every 5-10 years. Same with a sweeper. Yes, it's a bit different than a slider, but people have been throwing sweepers forever. You know, Buck Martinez has said to me multiple times that Dave Stieb threw a sweeper before we called it a sweeper. But we like to rebrand and name things. So for people who aren't really into hardcore pitching metrics, congratulations, that's healthy. It's essentially doing what a splitter does. That same movement profile, diving down. And it's been a huge help to him because Ponce, I mean, this guy's like 6'5", 6'6". This is a big dude, an ideal frame for a starting pitcher. So when he is now throwing about 95 instead of 93, when he's reaching up to touch 98 instead of peaking at 95, and now you have that second weapon, that's pretty exciting, Dan. And maybe someone needs to go into a bullpen Eric Lauer type of role, and Ponce could certainly do that, I think. But this is another move that protects them beyond 2026 because Gausman is a free agent, Bieber is a free agent. They've now done a lot of their work early. Next year's free agent class is not great, unless you're going to swing big and land Scooble or something like that. Next year's class is not overwhelming by any means. So they've gotten their money spent early. I love what they're doing, even if it's happening in ways I didn't quite expect. But, man, Ponce is fascinating, man. There's upside here. Like, this is not the safe Chris Bassett type of signing. This is riskier, and I like that.
Yeah, this screams of a guy in the scouting department saying, no, this is the guy.
Oh, yeah.
This is the guy. And I know his walkout song, when he comes to the mound, it's going to be Rihanna's Pawn to replay. So play on Ponce.
The whole way.
We talk about these pitchers finding these new pitches and stuff. Why haven't we seen a new version of a Tim Wakefield come? Why has no one learned how to throw knuckleballs and nothing but? That has not happened.
I want it so badly, man. You hear about it every once in a while. I think 2 springs ago, the Jays had one guy who threw it, so they brought R.A. Dickey into camp for a day. It's like this magic thing that only comes around every 10 or 12 years, and a lot of the time it needs to be because, like R.A. Dickey, you don't have an elbow ligament or there's some reason that you need to do it. Man, I would love some pitcher to try to figure it out. And maybe, because, Dan, I think that long-term, baseball over the next 5-10 years is going to swing back in the direction of valuing pitchers who throw a lot of innings. And I'm not saying that that's going to lead some kid to start throwing a knuckleball so they can throw 280, but it's going to open doors to guys who are trying to stay healthy, not guys who are trying to just throw 4 innings and max it out and push their elbow to the brink of exploding. So maybe we get a knuckleballer in there somewhere, but my God, I love it. Catchers hate it. I still remember JP and Sevilla trying to catch that thing and failing over and over again, but I hope we see another one soon, man.
We do see side armors. We always get a couple of those a year, the Mark Eichhorn style. Hey, one pitcher that won't be back for the Jays is Alek Manoah. He gone.
Alek Manoah, the Angel, man, it's good for him. Fresh start on a team that God needs pitching and has been stuck looking for pitching anywhere and everywhere. A quick little 1-year deal makes sense for him. Not that he had the option to sign for 10 or anything like that. But Manoah, man, the bar's not high. Like, I think getting away from Toronto, and LA is pretty far from Toronto, will be good for him. Because fans of the Angels, those many, many people, they don't care about 3-4 years ago when Manoah finished 3rd in Cy Young Award voting. They're aware of it. They'd love to see it. But they did not witness that as fans. Blue Jays fans, understandably, and the Blue Jays as an organization, always wanted Manoah to get back to that. That's always in your mind once you've seen someone be truly great, and he was truly great. Now he just needs to be decent, and that's probably a more comfortable place to be for Alek Manoah. If you can give the Angels 150 innings with a 4.4 ERA, I think that's a massive success. And I think that's
what happened, though?
Yeah,
could you write a book on what happened 3rd in Cy Young voting to never to be seen again?
Yeah, I think you'd need to get some truths out of that. I don't think we know the whole story completely because for a while, Manoah was pitching through what was some shoulder stuff, some elbow stuff. He got cranked up big time to 192 innings that year from a point where I didn't think they'd push him that hard. And then throughout Manoah's recovery, there were times where he'd be attempting to come back. He'd get back. He wouldn't have his control. There was this eagerness the entire time to have a moment where, oh, he's back. Boom, he's back. It doesn't work like that in pitching, especially when you're rehabbing from injuries. And that again during his Tommy John rehab, which was coming. So I'm glad that he gets some patience and some space to breathe in now, because if Manoah had have stayed with the Blue Jays and pitched 5 shutout innings in AAA to open the season next year, it would be, oh my God, here he is. They have a 7th starter now. So he's got to get away from that, man. And I think at this point, it's good for him to have less of a spotlight, less expectations, and I'll be rooting for the guy, man. He's still so young. You want to see him make a career out of this, get a contract or 2, get that money to take care of your family. And I just hope his body holds up, because he's built like a guy that should be able to throw 200 miles an hour. It always blew my mind to see he and Yusei Kikuchi standing next to each other. Kikuchi was quite generously listed at 6'1", 190 or whatever. And it blew my mind that Kikuchi was the guy that threw harder, right? So Manoah's body needs to agree with him. We'll see, but I hope it works out.
It's how you use your body. That always baffles me when like a 15-year-old kid who weighs 100 pounds steps up to the tee and launches a driver 320 yards. And I'm like, what? What's happening? It's just getting the sweet spot. So Alek Manoah will not be back. Max Scherzer will not be back. Who officially will not be back with the Blue Jays next season?
Yeah, Scherzer feels pretty damn unlikely right now. I don't know how Chris Bassett would fit in. I know that Bassett feels like he's such an integral part of this team and this organization, and I'll always remember him as that, like a really meaningful piece of that World Series run. I just don't know where that fits because Bassett is someone who I believe would want to start. Like he believes in starting pitching. He wants to be a starting pitcher. He can shorten up when needed and do a damn good job of it, but I think he wants to start. And if Bassett finds a 2-year deal, fantastic. If he finds a 1-year deal, great. And if you need to get moved at the trade deadline to make a run, even better. You know, he's in the final years of his career, most likely. I'd love to see him get a shot at that again, but I don't see how that works in Toronto at this point. So we'll see where that goes on the position player side, but man, it's really just about Bichette again at this point. The rotation has been patched up. Maybe they do more with the depth stuff down where you get to Eric Lauer, Bowden Francis, Ricky Tiedemann, Gage Stanifer. Man, there's some other options down there, but...
Is there any news on the Bichette front?
Nothing yet. And I think that we get... I think we get some news and a lot of BS around the winter meetings. Because the winter meetings are A, where stuff happens, and B, where stuff just want to see their name get aggregated. And it really picks up the stupidity again. So we're going to see a lot of stuff of Team X is interested in Bo Bichette. Shut up. Of course they are. He's really good, okay? He's a 27-year-old shortstop or second baseman who can hit 300 and probably hit 25-plus home runs. Anybody with money and any serious baseball team is going to be interested. That hasn't changed. But we could see that list start to shrink realistically because while everyone is interested, you need to start to actually put money behind that. And this typically works with a few rings and a few checkpoints. Now, I'll use Shohei Ohtani as an example. He's the ultimate example. But early on, teams came to understand with Ohtani that to even get a seat at the table, you're going to need to put $500 million down as where you're willing to go with an offer. So a few teams did. The Dodgers, the Blue Jays, the Angels, I think a couple others said, okay, we'll go as far as $500 million. That got rid of the crap, of the just, hey, we like Ohtani. I know you do, Oakland A's, but come on. So you need to get rid of the tire kickers at one point. And that first threshold typically does it. Maybe if you're Bichette's agent, you're saying, hey, we want $25 million a year. If you're willing to talk about that, come speak to us. With Ohtani, it eventually jacked up to 600, 700, and you lose a couple teams with each raise. The same will happen with Bichette. Smaller numbers, but same with Kyle Tucker as well. Right around now is when you're starting to get rid of those fluff teams who are not serious. And the Blue Jays are one of the serious teams, very much so. And they still need one of these big bats. Like, if they miss on both Bichette and Tucker, they're in a really bad place. And, Dan, this brings me to a point that I keep coming back to, which is that we can't let the World Series and the playoff run shape how we view the entire season.
Oh, yeah, we can.
Oh. And I'd love to tell you that Ernie Clement is going to hit 400 next year. And
he
MVP.
is.
I'd love that. And personally, I'd love it because Ernie's such a great guy to cover and such a good story. But players like Clement, like Barger, players, anyone below Vladdy who had those incredible playoff runs, yes, that showed something. Yes, it mattered and it's real. But the Blue Jays can't bet on their offense being that good in the regular season. They need to add Bo back. They need to add a Kyle Tucker. They need to do something big. Maybe that's Ketel Marte from Arizona who's on the trade block. There has to be something happen. I think there's a bit of an assumption of, oh, this offense is great. It'll keep cruising. It needs to be augmented at this point. And further to that, Dan, is George Springer going to have a career year again? I mean, maybe. I bet against him last year, and he was right. But you've got to bet on some things not going perfectly. They need to add multiple offensive pieces, and one of them needs to be pretty big.
This is going to sound weird, but whenever you say Bo Bichette now, I think of Lenny Kravitz, and I'll explain. My friend recently shot something with Lenny Kravitz, and whenever I think of Lenny Kravitz, I think of how many times he's played. Are you going to go my way? Like, I would love to know what he thinks the number is. And now whenever you say Bo Bichette, I want to know what is the number since the season ended that you've said his name.
Too many. I wish I had $1 for each time.
We need to do a super cut of you saying it every time.
Just cut up, you know? And every offseason has that one guy. Like it was Juan Soto last offseason, Shohei the offseason before. All year it was Vladdy. And you know, it's part of the game where you get stuck on one player. And that's where a lot of the BS comes from. It is, you know, now thankfully I'm grateful that I'm not in a position where I need to create new storylines out of a story that's not moving. And I'm fully confident just to sit here and say, hey, same old, nothing yet, you know, but I understand that there's corners of this business where people need to keep making it sound interesting. And that's where you get the reports of, oh, the Yankees and the Dodgers and the this and that team are, okay, maybe they are. But it's, man, you can start to think, though, let me do the exact thing that I was just talking about terribly. But you can start to think about how much it would hurt to see Bichette elsewhere. And I think that needs to increase the urgency that the Blue Jays move with. I mean, seeing Bichette in New York, seeing him join another contender, that is a nightmare scenario for Blue Jays fans. And it makes too much sense. That's what I keep coming back to, Dan. There's numbers involved, there's projections involved, there's a lot of complicated math and future planning involved. But it just makes too much sense to me for this to keep going. You know, Bichette and the Blue Jays makes too much sense.
Lastly, how's the latest renovations to the Rogers Center going? I bring that up because, you know, for the first month of Jays home broadcasts, they will be showing that new beautiful area that you can get a ticket and enter. It won't be cheap, though.
Scan this QR code and take out all 3 of your credit cards. Yeah, it's. I'm interested to see this because we have not gotten much information on the media side, but I've seen the pictures on social media of that. I believe, Dan, it's like the 200 levels kind of torn out.
Yep. Would
that be where the old TD Club Lounge was?
TD, she gone.
See ya. I wonder who's sponsoring it now. Maybe TD still, and those were frankly my favorite seats in the ballpark. Like I'm a 200s guy. Get a little height above the field, comfy seats. I think the 200s are great. It's why I recommend friends to get tickets when they ask me and I tell them no. But when I see those pictures, I am imagining more club lounges, more tickets that are not cheap. But that is, unfortunately for the common fan, where pretty much all stadium work is going now. In baseball, in football, in basketball, you're not seeing anyone expand the 500 level. You're just not. It is where teams make their cash is premium seating, is people who commit to those for a year, come in, buy a bottle of wine instead of just a beer, and that's where clubs make cash. And that's something where, frankly, I think it's important for me just to say, listen, I don't understand this business side of ticketing as well. That's something where I kind of trust Mark Shapiro to know what he's doing and know that the numbers are at least benefiting the Jays, even if it does not benefit the average fan sitting in the 500s, which is unfortunate. But interested to see how that goes. Man, this stadium renovation has been interesting. My aim was off on it early on, Dan. When I saw the early renos, I was like, God, this is a lot of ways to come to a ball game if you don't want to watch baseball, right? But then I hear from so many friends who love it because they do want to go and kind of just hang out and have the game on in the background. So we'll see, but man, oh man, it's so much money's been pumped into this, right? That's why when I see Dylan Cease, 7 years, 210, I just think, whatever. This ownership group's printing money.
Keegs, you can only answer this question yes or no. Before you or I die, you'll die after me because you're younger. Will we see seats that are somehow in the roof at the Rogers Center? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Never
Thinking
say
outside
no
the box
to an opportunity to make more money or weird.
Oh, yeah. It'll be the most interactive in-the-game seats in Major League Baseball.
Oh, absolutely.
You'll be on a bungee cord. Thanks, Keegs.
You got it.
Thanks for watching Toronto Sports Rush on the Bet Rivers Network.